I come from a family where, my grandparents relocated at the time of partition. So we don't really have a home or a village to go back to make a difference. So I decided to make the most of my circumstances. And for me, what came together was I could look at my life experience of being a caregiver or being a caregiver to a caregiver. My mother was the primary caregiver to my father. And what is it that I can do that can help others in similar situations? So that led to the idea of Caregiver Saathi, that we could create a supportive ecosystem or companions for caregivers, because while the caregivers support the patients, we do not really have a systemic support for family caregivers. Our entire healthcare system is so inadequately resourced. The whole healthcare system rests on the caregiver. But the healthcare system does not cater to the caregiver. So the way that we have visualized is that Caregiver Saathi is an academy for caregivers. What it means is that we are a place where caregivers can learn how to be caregivers, and they can learn to be caregivers in a manner that is different from how is socially ingrained. The academy provides expert-led training and learning, and a community where people who have the life experience of being caregivers can support each other. So I don't need to be a technical expert. So long as I have life experience of caregiving, I can offer that wisdom to someone else. I think in the first wave, one of the things that I noticed was that we continued to work with caregivers in the sense that we were doing our awareness workshops and webinars. We found that caregivers would attend those more than the support groups that we were offering. We have two big offerings. One is the webinars, which is learning sessions, and the second is the support groups. We also have one-on-one coaching and counseling. When the second wave hit, we did a call out for volunteers. As of today, we have more than 850 volunteers who want to contribute from the age group of 10. My youngest volunteer is a 10-year-old to 55, 60-year-olds, okay, who want to do something to help. So we created a response which has 6 parts. The most significant is how can we provide verified resources to all those who need emergency care. Yeah. So we have an app on which we have more than 3,000 verified resources that our volunteers verify regularly in the top 15 cities that are affected by COVID, so that you can access resources for hospital beds, oxygen, ambulance, funeral services, what have you, in one place, right? So we have that is available, and it is continuously validated and provided. As many as 250 volunteers work on it daily. The second thing is that people who are concerned but not infected also need to be able to process their sense of helplessness and want to contribute to society. So we encourage them to volunteer and do some other things so that they can contribute and feel that they are helping others. The third is all those who are infected but can take home-based isolation, home-based care, but they don't need emergency services. For them, they need learning resources. They need access to doctors. They need programs in which they can manage their mental health and their emotional health, and things like what is a checklist to follow, what can I do, can I attend a webinar to know how to communicate to children, how can I take care of my family long distance, and so on and so forth. So that is home-based care. The other two programs are care for professionals. So all the doctors, nurses, journalists, volunteers who are working in the front line of COVID are impacted. Just like you said, caregivers are impacted. They are caregivers of a different kind. So they are also impacted by what is called secondary trauma, and they are burning out. So we have specialized learning programs and support groups for all those who are carrying the burden for the entire society. And the sixth and the most significant one is all those who are traumatized by loss of life. So not just women who have lost people who were financially providing for them, but also men who have lost their partners, and people who have lost more than one family member are significantly traumatized. And they will need to find a new purpose. They will need counseling, specialized counseling like grief counseling, and they will need a program because they will need to go through 1 year of healing to create new purpose. So we have a program for all those who may want to work through post-bereavement care. You know, I take a lot of inspiration from one of very favorite Urdu couplet, and I'm going to say that, which is, तुम फसीले शब को छू छू कर यूं ही चलते रहो, गर हाथ दीवार पर होंगे तो डर भी आएगा, अपने घर से निकल पड़े तो उसका घर भी आएगा. What it basically means is, if तुम फसीले शब is रात के किले की दीवार, you know, if this is darkness and this is a fortress, and if you are just touching the wall of the fortress, तुम छू छू कर यूं ही चलते रहो. So just hold hands and keep walking. गर हाथ दीवार पर होंगे, so long as you are touching the wall and so long as you are holding hands, तो दर भी आएगा. दर is the दरवाजा. अपने घर से निकल पड़े तो उसका घर भी आएगा, which means you will reach your destination so long as you're walking. So I would like to tell everyone that so long as we are holding hands, so long as we are a community, we will find light at the end of this very dark tunnel.